Since I haven't been able to go out and film this week, due to reasons I'll explain in a minute, I thought this week I'd just have to do a little garden tour, garden update, chatty type video. Now that's exciting, isn't it? We'll switch off now. I had planned to go out filming something somewhere on the island this week, but on Monday evening there was a problem with Jenson, and he had pain somewhere. He couldn't jump up on the settee or anything, and if he jumped off something he yelped. So Tuesday morning, first of all, I was awake with him most of Monday night, and then I was at the vet with him not by 9 o'clock on Tuesday morning, and they x-rayed him and what have you, couldn't find anything wrong, and gave him anti-inflammatory injection and some pills. Unfortunately now he's on the road to recovery. He's pretty much okay. Still can't jump as high as onto the bed, but he's getting there. And then later in the week Sue suddenly got the lurgy, so she's not been very well, but getting better. So that's left me pretty much stuck indoors, or stuck around the house, which is why I'm doing this video. I'll start off with the coronavirus situation, and things are getting better. Thank you, Oscar. Yeah, things are getting better. I think we were up to about nearly 150 known cases a week ago, and now it's down to 93. So we're well below the 100 per 100,000 population that they seem to measure things by. But as I said before, they're doing lots more tests, so it's no wonder it's gone up a bit. Well, let's get on with this little look around the garden. Perhaps I should start off by saying what a lovely day. Not a cloud in the sky, it's lovely and warm, as you can see. But the garden. So first off, the pool. It's been cleaned, and we've now got the solar cover on to try and maintain the heat so we can swim in it for longer. Not that we've swum in it for the last week, because we've actually had a lot of overcast weather. And this is an area that I intend to develop. Oh, there's Jenson. You can see he's doing alright. Yeah. One of the things with gardening here is really you can't fight the climate. So I'm going to try and turn this whole area into a succulent garden, which is going to be a lot of effort, not least of which because somebody decided it was a good idea to use all this as like a mulch, but it's far too big. And actually it's not just on the surface, it's over the years it's worked its way in, so I'm going to have to somehow dig all that out and replace it with something else probably once I've planted it up. But we've got this, which was a bougainvillea, which was enormous, and there's another one over here. That's another bougainvillea, and of course they were beautiful, but bougainvillea dropped their bracts, flowers, whatever you want to call them, every day. So I was forever getting them out of the pool. So I don't know which of the previous owners decided planting them there was a good idea, but they're idiots basically. This was a cutting of a nice plant, and it's not looking very healthy, as is its parent plant, which I'll show you in a minute. I'll probably keep this. Actually, there's no flowers on it at the moment. It does have lovely yellow flowers when it is flowering. And I've got a baby one here. This is the son of, so I shall dig that up and plant it somewhere else in the garden. This is an ice plant that is doing quite well, so that can stay there as it's a succulent. Now this is one of the things I mean about fighting against the climate. This is quite nice and it has lovely yellow flowers on it, but boy is it susceptible to not having enough water. I mean, I'll water it a couple of times a week, and for a few days it looks good and starts to flower, and then it just wilts again. I've got another one over there just the same. So I'm starting to accumulate a few succulents to plant here. I've got another load out the front. This is a Canarian date palm, which is really rather big for the position it was planted in. It's making the fence buckle, and I have to keep cutting it back, which is not an easy job because these are like needles. They really are. The first sort of foot or so has these on them, and God, they're just lethal they are. So you have to watch out. Really I need to get rid of this acacia tree because it just drops rubbish everywhere. And when we moved in only 7 years ago, this was just a little sapling thing, and it's grown that much in 7 years. They really do just grow like weeds here. So hopefully I'll get rid of that, but getting rid of all the wood from these things isn't easy. And over here we have another area that, again, this is that same plant that I just showed you. It just wilts in days, so it's coming out to replace with things that just don't need watering. This one isn't so bad, it's got these nice little flowers on. I mean, it does wilt a bit, but not as badly as that one. I have no idea what this one was. This was one of the free plants that I got from the council nursery one year, and it never wilts, but it doesn't really seem to do much else. It's never flowered or done anything, but hey, at least it's evergreen. And over there we've got an elephant's food plant that was just a cut-in from the one out the front that you'll see later. And unfortunately we had another dead bird over there. Obviously a cat's got it. Looks like it was a wood pigeon or something. And strolling round, well, this is the new garden furniture that Sue bought. This is the old stuff that's going out the front. Not that we have anybody round to sit in it. Sadly, my son and his wife and my granddaughter were going to come out for a visit, but obviously because of the current situation all that didn't happen. In fact, we've had no visitors this year at all, which is rather sad. And this sorry looking thing was our lemon tree, which used to be in a pot, but it wasn't doing very well. So I dug a big hole and put it in, and it seems sort of given up the ghost. Bit of a shame. We used to get lemons on it. Not for a while though. I'm not going to break up that cobweb. It probably took the spider a long time to build it. I've still got to lay the tiles here where the problem with the sewage was. These oleanders seem to take care of themselves. And this is rather sad because this was a huge ice plant, and it's been there, it was there before we moved in, and it has beautiful sort of maroony flowers on it when it flowers, but in the last few months it's just died right back. So I need to clear all of that. Well, the reason I haven't done much gardening lately is because it's just been too hot. It really is hard work here when it's hot. Right, this thing. This was a pepper tree that I'd cut down about 3 or 4 years ago. And it just won't die. I keep cutting back all the new growth. I mean, these are piles from the last time I cut it back about 3 or 4 months ago. And I've tried everything. I drilled big holes into the actual stump and filled it with weed killer. I've tried, when it's not as big as this, I've tried spraying the leaves with weed killer, and they die off, but it doesn't kill off the actual plant itself. So I don't know what to do really. I think my best bet is to cut it all the way back again and have a little fire on top of it and see if that kills off the thing. And the reason we cut it down was it was planted again by some previous owner of the house right next to the wall, and it was just knocking the wall down, so we had to have it put back, and that was it really. Right, let's make our way out the front. This is a bit of a dump for rubbish, more stuff to go to the recycling centre. And as for the garage, I've just got to get in there and I've got to clear it up. It's just a mess, but it's so hot in there during the summer. If I just go in there to get a screwdriver, I'm drenched within a minute, because it can reach well over 100 degrees in there. Well, in fact it's normally well over 100 degrees. Right, this is the drive to the garage that will never see a car, of course. And somebody decided it was a good idea to plant these agaves here in this little bed at the side of the house. Again, pretty stupid idea, because they get huge, just like that. And this one, come over here, got even bigger, and flowered this year, threw out this enormous flower spike, babies on the top. And now it will just die, because they do once they flower, just like the one did in the front garden. But what a pain that is to try and get rid of. I'm going to have to chop this off soon, otherwise it's going to fall on my car. And getting rid of that isn't easy. And again, they are so dangerous. These things, the points, are just, well, you could use this as a weapon. And in fact, if I remember, I'll link up here to a little video I did some time ago where I actually cut some of these off and just hammered them into wood to show just how hard they are. We've got a bougainvillea here, which is lovely, nearly always flowering, and an olive tree, which I guess is something that every house has to have here. I think they call it you have them for good luck or something. We've never had an olive on it. Here's more things that need to be got rid of. This has just outgrown itself and hardly has anything on it now, but cutting it back, it's going to be a real pain, because if I just break one of these off, look, well, you can see it now, look. See the sap running out. It's actually whenever I say that, the name always goes from me. It will come to me in a minute. But the sap is like latex. It just, well, they say it irritates. It doesn't irritate me, but it sticks on you. It's like latex glue. I've got it all in my fingers now. I did get it on my arm once, and I tried all sorts of ways to get rid of it, and in the end I just had to shave my arms, because it was the only way to get it out of the hairs. Which way round shall we go? We'll start off over here. This is that other agave, which somehow I've got to get rid of. It's too big to go in a car. Take it to the dump. And as we're only allowed to have one bonfire a year, in June, on St. Juan's Day, it means you just can't get rid of things very easily. And there's the flower spike. This isn't doing so well. I'm not quite sure why, because that's a succulent, and it was doing well. This is a pepper tree, which I'll show you in a minute. This is my favourite plant in the garden. I think that's absolutely stunning. What an amazing form it's got. It really is. And that's the same as the one over there with the milky sap. It's the same family. Why can't I think what it's called? It's a massive family of plants. Oh, it'll come to me. Or I'll put the name of it overlaid onto the video. Right, this was a Canarian date palm. and it was doing fine, and then one day it just died. And in fact it had rotted in the middle, up here. I mean, how do you get rid of a thing like that? It weighs a ton, it's too big, you know, you can't really chop it up. In fact, it's not the only one around here, because that one's died as well recently, the smaller one. No signs of life in that one, but there were some along the road here, and they've all died. And the council is doing something to try and save the rest. They've recently been out here with an excavator and dug like a trench all the way around it, and all the bigger ones over there, I guess, so that they can give them some water, and the water will just sort of stay there. But I mean, I water these occasionally with a hose pipe, but it still hasn't saved them. We've got this and 3 more over here. They're surviving. They were free plants from the nursery here, but well, they give away 10 free plants a year. They've been in about 4 or 5 years, so they're managing without getting watered. This is another, it's not a seedling, it's a cutting basically from a plant I'll show you in a minute. And we do have this irrigation system in the garden, but it's pretty old. And when I first switched it on, when we first came in, it had leaks everywhere, and our water bill actually went up a lot. So it just doesn't seem worth having it. Just planting things that survive on their own seems the best way of going. You can't fight nature, as I've probably said before in this video. But this is a parent of the elephant's food plant. It's certainly spread out a lot since we've been here. And it's called elephant's food. It's a native African plant. It's called elephant's food because apparently it makes up something like 60% of the diet of the African elephant. And it propagates itself because the elephants trample all over it and break bits off, and then the bits just root. These are probably rooted. Yeah, I can feel that's the end of it is rooted, so I could chop that off and plant it elsewhere. It's the same all the way around here. Unfortunately, there's that agave that's growing up in the middle of it. I guess somebody just planted it next to this when they first put them in, and they just intermingled. Right. We have this here. We've got a yucca there. Oh, looks like we're going to have a flower on this one. You do get nice white flowers on them. It looks a bit messy with all of these dead leaves. I did start removing them once, but you just can't pull them off from up here. You have to start at the bottom and go round, pulling them off one at a time. As you can probably imagine. Apart from being awkward doing it up there, that would take days. But I'm going to pull off in the wild, so it can't do them any harm, can it? Right, I've got a Canarian date palm here that's doing okay, and that's doing okay. Another Canarian date palm here, and that's doing alright. This is my bonfire I'm building up. As I say, you can only have one once a year. There's a bit more rubbish over there to go on it. And we're getting to the end, really. This is another Acacia, which has grown into a big tree, but I really don't like them. And these, it grows like weeds. The seeds just drop out and they all sprout. And it's a never-ending job trying to get all of these out. Look, it's all over here. It's like a forest. And they never die. This was another acacia that obviously self-seeded itself right there by the fence to the swimming pool, which is, this is falling apart because this had a big plant growing through it and that's pulled the fence down, so I need to replace this. But this isn't dead, it just keeps sprouting and it grows really quickly. I mean, in 3 or 4 months time there'll be 5 or 6 foot long branches growing out of that, because I only cut it back last week or the week before. But nothing seems to kill them. This is the only tree I really like in the garden. Well, one of 2 trees I like in the garden. It's a honey locust tree. It's finished flowering now, but it has lovely sort of buttercup type flowers on it in the spring. And here we have a pepper tree. I think this one's a Peruvian pepper tree. And you do actually get peppers on it. There they are there. Apparently they're not true peppercorns, but they're quite nice to eat. And they are the red ones you get in a mixed peppercorn tub. And we just got a few other bits and pieces. Got another seedling from the elephant's food plant there. Some other succulents and what have you. This is the one that had those, if you saw my video last week, this is one that had the 2 big flowers on. Videoing these at night just in case. These are flowers that only last a day, because they've just come out and they are amazing. And they're on this succulent and they've grown like that in 48 hours, almost from nothing. They're really quite incredible. Quite large too, if I put my hand there. You can see how big the flowers are. They were beautiful. And then we've got mostly Sue's domain. Sue likes to plant up the pots and keep them going. And this is just one coleus that she planted. It's only a small plant and it's just become huge. She's taken loads of cuttings from it, given some away. Some are planted out by the front gate, and it just keeps on going. It's looking a bit faded now because they're normally bright red, so I think it needs cutting back for the new growth to come through. And we're just about done. This is my cactus garden. Yeah, all doing okay apart from one seems to have died. This is to go in out the back in the new succulent garden. This here was an aloe vera, a type of aloe vera, and I found it on one of my walks. Somebody just chopped the top of it off. It had no roots, had nothing, and I just shoved it in a pot, and that's obviously really taken hold because there's all these babies growing around the side. So I think I'll be able to pot them up and use them. There's the succulents I bought over a year ago that have just sat there, but most of them have survived. And well, that's it. So, thanks for watching. I know it was boring, but hey, they can't all be winners, can they? So, see you soon. Bye.